In the crypto cycle, there's a lot of things that happen. We look at the normal bull run activities of most of the blockchain that you normally recognize. And then you get into altcoins and even meme coins. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about that and kind of get into a little bit of where the meme tokens are going. You guys are going to love it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Tangem. This is, of course, one of the self-custody wallets that we like. And if you go over to Tangem's website, one thing you're going to notice is the ease of use. They've pretty much redefined how, decentralized and I should say security for what you guys want to do in terms of kind of becoming your own self-custody, self-sovereign individual. They've done it through a lot of new technology. The other thing I really love about it is just the simplicity they've done with their app and the card itself. Very easy to use, so make sure and check it out. Just go to tangem.com. You can click that blue and then blue button up there on the right, and it'll take you to the 3-card set. Get that one. It's the best way to go. And then use our offer link. It always helps the channel. All right, so I want to get started today, and before we get rolling here, I want to bring in my guest co-host, and then, of course, is Miss Jackie Dutton. Great to have you back.
I'm so happy to be back. I'm excited.
All right, Jackie, let's dive into a couple of things. I want to look at the charts here just in general. I'm looking at the coin market cap Memecoin list today. If we go on off of just the regular market cap here, I'll kind of zoom in on a few of these so you might be able to see everything that we're looking at there. But the OGs are present, and that's of course Doge, Shiba, and Pepe. But guess what? You've got WIF in there, which is a new entry in the Solana blockchain. We've talked about that quite a bit. Floki coming in, Bonk, of course, also on Solana, and then a handful of others that have kind of, even there's Slurf. So when you look at this, and there's Cocky looking at it, so Avalanche made its first entry as well. When you look at meme coins in general, you've had a chance to see these cycles. I know you talk a lot about these. And you look at the social behavior that happens on crypto Twitter. What is it, do you think, that drives the interest for meme coiners or people that are saying, hey, I want to maybe buy my first Dogecoin? If you look at the way that a lot of newbies come into the market, that's typically what they're going after. What do you think drives that interest? Is it just the fun nature, the gambling element of it? What is it? Do you feel like hits it?
I, I think it's, first and foremost, obviously the opportunity to buy a little and make a lot.
Yeah,
And we see these stories time again of somebody who bought $62 of a Solana meme coin and made 2 million. And I think that, meme coins present that opportunity and for it to happen within a matter of a week,
yeah,
basically. So I'm sure that's the biggest issue. And then you have the identity issue of it, the people who
mhm,
just loved Pepe. Pepe was a great meme for a really long time. Trump is another token that we talk about that's kind of opened up this polyfi meme coin sector of
right.
like a political form of gambling as well. So I just think it's you kind of align yourself with what you like. It's like shopping, it's shopping for things you don't need.
Well, one thing I've noticed, and this is something we analyze a lot, is there are certain communities and culture within crypto that is quite a bit different. In fact, it looks a lot like collectibles, the sneakerhead community, even in certain cases, the stock market community. If you just go back and look at, the evolution of Wall Street Bets and how they were able to really pin down TradFi because of a culture that they were representing, which was, kind of the hodl theme. And I think that kind of aligns really well with meme tokens. When you look at what's been happening on Solana, Solana meme coin mania continues. But Coinbase is getting ready to get into this. We saw a lot happen here on Base this week. So this, of course, getting the advantage of the Dencon upgrade, lower fees, which has been the problem that has faced Solana, is failed attempts on some of these swaps that we've seen on things like Phantom and/or fees that have started to indicate that this is maybe just a congestion issue that we see with Solana. What are your thoughts about the ecosystem starting to shift and possibly seeing a new treasure trove of memes over in the base ecosystem? What are your thoughts?
I think we saw this immediately right when Base launched. Remember that bald token just
Yeah,
blew up. So I think everybody immediately saw the potential there. Also, Coinbase, you can't argue with the multi-million users that are just naturally already on that platform. So you're going
right.
to have people who know, like, and trust the brand already, but they may not totally know about the Phantom wallet. And I love the Phantom wallet, don't get me wrong. I think that UX UI is very simple. But Coinbase just has that status and that level of trust for a lot of people who are even kind of wary about crypto, but now they want to buy a meme coin and they know they can do it through a product that Coinbase provides. I think you're going to see a lot more people start to ape in.
Yeah, and you've got now Aerodrome. We talked a little bit about that, which is a base project, I should say, that is kind of the Jupiter, or so to speak, of what's happening on Base as a blockchain. But then you look at the fee architectures and how it affects a lot of the developers. I was looking at Tolly and what he was talking about. Hey, one day of fees pays for about 12 months or of 1,000 Solana validator boxes. Now, granted, that's a good thing maybe for the ecosystem, but those fees are coming. And we showed a clip the other day of example fees that one game on Solana was paying. And if I remember correctly, it was significant compared to maybe some of the, and what I'm talking about is the devs themselves having to pay these fees to keep their game up and running for transactions. And eventually I feel like that's going to put a little pressure on the ecosystem. And that could get into a scenario where we see maybe lower fees, but of course the potential of also users, and we showed this yesterday on a show, moving over to things like Base. A lot more wallets going, active users growing on Base. What do you think the potential is for Base when it comes to that? Do you think we could see a landslide move of users and wallets?
I'm still seeing a lot of chatter about people complaining about the fee just to bridge their ETH over into Base.
Right.
So I think for now, we're still going to see Solana be a very affordable option, even if, I mean, like that tweet said, the validators are making more than Bitcoin miners right now.
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's a great opportunity for people
Yeah.
who didn't get into a mining gig. So I I think they'll stay very competitive throughout this cycle.
Yeah, well, I guess it's, I mean, there are ways to, to get into the Base ecosystem, whether you through, a based leveled USDC with a very small fraction of ETH to be able to maintain and handle, because the transaction numbers are so low now that we have DENCON that's being, applied with what's happening in Base, which that's another factor is that we haven't seen a lot of the L2s really kind of put the hammer down on getting DENCON deployed. Polygon is a good example. We had the outage with that, those kind of things. So I would agree. I think it's kind of a back and forth right here between the two tokens or the two ecosystems. Here's an example of some of the winners out there. Jupiter, Drip is also one that has talked about fees. Bird Eye, Radium. These are typical of the Solana ecosystems, one that have been able to do a lot in terms of potential. When you start trading these tokens, and this is, I think, a psyche, so to speak, of a crypto trader. They go through, okay, I might buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum when I come in, or maybe I don't. Maybe I buy a Dogecoin, and then I begin my risk tolerance level. Back to your point, where they kind of come in and low amount and high reward. But there's also some people out there that are saying, hey, this is crazy. It's only for very few. But at the same time, I feel like there might be an argument here. I want to show a clip to you and tell me what you think about this clip. Listen in.
Let me talk to crypto guys for a second. Hello, crypto dorks. Hello. Hi. I know you're hiding behind your cartoon avatars, but let me explain something to you. A lot of you have quite astutely pointed out that I made hundreds of millions of dollars with crypto. That is true. My problem with all you losers is that you get rich off crypto, and instead of thinking I need to invest in myself so I'm no longer a dork, I need to get strong and smart and interesting, you just keep the money and continue to trade shit coins. I have no problem with making money with crypto. I'm currently making a bunch of money with crypto. My problem is with you personally, because I think you're all nerds and I don't like you. You're the kind of person I would see on the street and you'd come up to me and be like, hey Andrew, hey, nice to meet you, I got a blockchain project. And while you're talking to me, I'd just be thinking of how snappable your neck is. I'd be thinking, I could just So I hate the community, but I enjoy the money.
This guy he's a character. Listen, I think the good point is that I think he's wrong here, because I feel like the people I talk to in crypto, they're a lot sharper than he's giving them credit for. I understand there's always going to be the outer edges, and that's in the case on anything out there, tech, sports, you name it, you're going to have the geeks on the outer edge. Nothing wrong with that, geeks. We love you all. But for the most part, people who are trading crypto, these are serious people. They're doing some serious analysis. They're saying, even if they want to have fun, which I don't blame anybody for going to the casino. So What did you think about his assessment there?
Oh, well, what he doesn't realize is that when he goes on these rants, he accidentally launches like crypto projects in
Yeah,
spite of
exactly. A
his
new meme
energy.
coin. Hate
Yeah,
the
I
Tate.
have a friend. He has a whole NFT collection. Tate hates NFTs, and it's just in homage to him doing this. So,
I love
I
it
mean,
because that's good to the point you're making right there, is that he's launching a crypto project that's probably going to make multi-millions on the fact that he just said something about it. So, who's in the wrong there? I think that's the problem with it. So, no, enough of the meme coins. I want to get into a little bit about ETH and also just in general the exchanges that are out there, because we saw a little bit of trouble with Coinbase in the last 2 weeks. Coinbase went down. Everybody saw some zeros on their on their account and freaked out. Um, and then you have Cathie Wood dumping 31 million in the Robinhood stock, which tells me she's might be leaning in a little bit more on Coinbase because she holds both of these positions. And I look at it and I think, gosh, I don't know if I think I would leverage for both with Coinbase, because if they get another major outage during a bull run attack, can you imagine if Bitcoin is closing in on 100K? Because that's going to be a big sell point, I feel like. The psychological effect of what Bitcoin would be at $100,000. If Coinbase goes down, and we're going to put it in the red book, it will go down when we hit 100K. Where are you going to trade? What are you going to do? What would you do? How would you play this out?
Considering that Coinbase is the one doing the custodial work for all of these major hedge funds as well,
Yeah.
and they knew that this was coming, I think this is really shocking that they haven't prepared for this. They had 3 years of a long time coming of us knowing that the price is going to go up. They've seen their app rise to the top of the app stores. They knew that this was on its way. The fact that they're not a little better prepared does scare me a little bit, but I mean, I don't really love centralized exchanges, so that's
Yeah.
not a huge issue for me. But
Yeah.
as far
Well,
as Robinhood is concerned, I don't know, can Robinhood really be trusted still after the GME, black mark of the whole thing? I don't know if they ever hold as much of anything as they say that they do.
Well, that's the big question I think that everybody asks about all these, the centralized exchanges, is that one, we've seen the shenanigans that go on, can't trade right now. You're in the middle of a bull run. You can't do an exit or an entry. You can't send. Those kind of things. Obviously, we've seen that with Robinhood as well. But I look at it in the sense that, whether you think about Gemini, or you like Kraken, or you're on Coinbase, or maybe you're on Binance and many others that are out there, eventually you're going to have to go to a centralized exchange if you do want to go to a US dollar, unless you're going to something like in a decentralized exchange and you're trying to go into maybe a USDC or some sort of stable token. Which I kind of wonder, what are you hearing on the streets right now in terms of how people will play this out? Let's say we get this great cycle of a bull run up over 100K, a lot of these alts are flying. Do you feel like more people will do exit liquidity to stable coins or other alternatives like, say, long-term ETH or maybe long-term Solana? Or do you think they'll play right back into the fiat systems? What are your thoughts?
I think, well, let's be honest, a lot of people are going to round trip this, whether they like it or not. They're just not going to learn their lesson and they're going to ride it all the way back to where they started. But the people who have learned their lesson from 2021 and beyond, I think the smarter play is to probably swap it into a USDC or maybe a Tether. I don't know,
Yeah.
sometimes that's a little sketchy as well. But I think keeping it in crypto has proven to be a lot more worthwhile than immediately turning it back into cash. Look at the US and our inflation rate. Just hasn't
Yeah.
really been worth it.
Well, I think if we could ever get to a true, value proposition for USDC outside of a centralized exchange where you could still gain yields, which, we've had that before, but they were bad guys in the market. Maybe we get some good products out there that will eventually go to that. Otherwise, you're going to see, places like Coinbase and Robinhood and Gemini and others, even Kraken, I think to a certain extent, start to look at some yield potentials for USDC. Circle may even be able to jump back into that. Remember, Circle was paying up to 5% a year and a half ago for deposits into USDC for enterprises. So for companies that are holding treasuries there, that would be a pretty significant thing. Remember too, guys, if you, just as a reminder, check out CoinLedger. They're one of our sponsors. If you're getting into taxes right now, this is a good thing to prep for, because if you swap a token, and I think a lot of people misunderstand this. If you swap a token, let's say you're in Solana and you swap it out, or let's say you're in Polygon and you swap it out for a game, or you're in a game and you swap it out for Polygon, that is actually an asset transition. So you're going to take a sale on that, and that means long-term capital gains or short-term capital gains, which are two different games here. So just be aware, check out some options here on getting your tax position in the right spot, because I think a lot of people might make some mistakes on that, which we'll probably do a show on that to give you guys some insights. Let's talk a little bit more about Meta. They made a move this week, which I thought was very intriguing, and that is, starting today, you can now share threads to the Fediverse, connecting you with more people, even if they're using different servers. This also is most likely and going to start to spread, I think, to other platforms. Instagram is going to be here as well. You look at this, Jackie, does this give you a lot of faith that we could see a decentralized social media actually become a thing?
I think it's only a matter of time for the right project. Absolutely. I see Hive Mapper is one of the things that competes, or is starting to compete, at least with Google Maps. I saw they've mapped
Yep.
like 20 something percent of the world already. I think there's a lot of promise there, but I still think what's lacking in this space always, still, even 4 years later, from the meme coin frenzy of the GME blow up and everything that got a lot of people in, is the UX UI. You have a lot of people who understand, even though this Fediverse thing is new, it will still feel familiar. And the fact that developers aren't creating products for people who just kind of intuitively know those interfaces and things like that, I think that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of people to get comfortable with it. So I'm just questioning this name, billion-dollar company, and they decided the Fediverse. It sounds like a government product.
Well, the Fediverse is, it's a term that's been used out there for kind of this federated social media concept. So when you think about Lens Protocol, Farcaster, hence Warpcast, which, by the way, if you guys haven't joined Warpcast, you probably should get in, get in your Farcaster ID, get into Warpcast. It's actually a pretty good solution. It's very Twitter-esque, and I think obviously it has a lot of crypto natives on it because it's a blockchain project. So that's one to consider. Lens Protocol, I think, is going to be one that we'll continue to see, in the background. So be on the lookout for Lens Protocol. And then you have these derivatives that are happening in the market. ENS, which of course we know, Ethereum name service. But then you have a lot of other projects that are starting to move, whether it's in Solana. Eventually we'll see, most likely, other blockchains start to adapt to that. Do you think that is the next step in really Web3 becoming the next generation of the internet? Is we need those ENS connection and we need decentralized social media? Are those the two things that are missing?
Social media is a really hard thing, I think, for a lot of people to want more of. I think we see so much of it already. I mean, can you imagine an only crypto Twitter experience? Like it's just your echo chamber. That's
Nostr.
it.
Yeah, Nostr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm TBD on that. I don't know.
Okay, all
I
right.
don't know how
I
I
can
feel about
see
that.
you're a little intrepid there, so I would say, okay, a little hesitant for going into that. Another thing I wanted to hit on, which is the gaming sector. Off the Grid is now raising another 30 mil, and this thing is getting ready to get real, and I think real fast. I was looking further in the article here. Look at this right here. Off the Grid now, 150-player battle royale game that will be released across PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox as well. This is to me, this is an iconic time in Web3 gaming when we start to see these kinds of projects make their way into the mainstream. And of course, especially when you got guys like Dr. Disrespect that are starting to go into this era, which he's one of the biggest gamers out there. When you look at, if you could give Web3 Gaming, I'm going to give you kind of an idea here. Web3 Gaming, DPIN, or AI tokens. If you had those three classifications, you were thinking, okay, this bull run, this is the slant I'm going to take. I'm going to go Web3 Gaming, AI tokens, or DPIN. Which route would you take for possibly the most intriguing games?
I think the wave of it will probably start with just gaming, the shooter games, the things that people understand, and then it will move into, just like the metaverse came along kind of towards the end of the NFT thing. I
Okay.
think the
All right.
AI tokens will happen, and then DeepIn will kind of fall in line.
Yeah. Well, for all of you guys, I mean, we've talked about PAL before. There's quite a few out there that we've had a kind of a full run on, because so this is one thing that we are continuing to keep our eyes on for sure. Yeah, we're going to be doing some gaming videos later this week. I think we have Hustle coming on the show, so it's going to be fun. We'll do a breakdown on Web3 gaming, to your point, Jackie. Anything that you're watching right now in terms of a token that says, hey, if I was going to give the audience one that I'm interested in, again, not financial advice, but I'm just always curious what other people are watching who really keep their, finger on the pulse. What are you seeing?
For gaming or just for anything?
In general, altcoin right now. Are you looking at anything special?
I think the meme coin thing is here, whether we like it or not, for a little while. So I think relevant topics and a decent meme, I think those are the quick recipe for just the attention economy.
Yeah.
I hate the
Yeah.
community, but I love the money, to quote Andrew Tate.
There you go. Well, let's just take a look at the chart real quick. If you were on WIF and if you were back there on February the 25th, this is where you'd be, guys. That's 780%. That's not a bad game. I think Andrew Tate might agree with that one. Now that's just on WIF. Let's take a look at Kakinu. A little different, but let's see what kind of numbers you would have done from that same period of time. You'd be sitting on still 204% gain. So these are not bad. Here's Kimbo, which is one that we've just recently been going. This, of course, is in the Avalanche ecosystem. We'll go back here to right there, Feb 25th, also holding out at this position right now at 343. There's a handful. The one I like, though, I'm going to give the audience, if you guys haven't been watching, is this one right here, Aerodrome. We like this one just in the alternative for the base ecosystem. You can get this on Coinbase. And it's one that we've watched mainly because it could be the dupe of base. There's some options there. Anyway, a lot of things happening in the market for sure. Jackie, always fun having you in on the show. Thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right, we'll see you later. All right, you guys, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and get in right now. It's another great place to get additional content. And of course, you can always jump into our Telegram over there as well by joining the Diamond Circle. We'll give you a link to that. And if you're following me on X, thank you very much. If you're not, just @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.